I'm Julian Boulding. I founded thenetworkone and I still lead the company 10 years ago. And we're not an agency ourselves. We're not a traditional network either. We're a company that puts together different independent agencies from around the world to collaborate on projects for international clients and to support the cause and the value of independent agencies through speaking at events like the Imagination Day, like Cannes, like other festivals, and that's really why we're here, and great to be here. What a fantastic show you have. It's not a question of are independent agencies better than network agencies or the other way around. Of course there are examples of both, but the independent sector has a critical role to play in the whole industry, because we are more able to react a little faster, we are more able to experiment, we can be a little bit more entrepreneurial, sometimes risking making a loss one year to make a bigger profit the next year, whereas a network agency owned by a holding company will look to be more stable and more predictable over time. So we are different, the independents. And the two speakers that we had here today, Igor Gavrilin from Voskhod in Russia, and Eka Ruola from Hassan & Partners in Finland, gave terrific, really creative presentations about things which perhaps you might think a client would not risk to do, or an organization in Russia would not risk to do. Make fun to some degree of the politicians, but the effect is definitely there. And it is about creativity, it is about imagination, but it's also about business that gets results. And those guys were showing great ideas, but they also talked about the effect that they had and measured the effect they had. And that's our passion, really, to the independent spirit, independent agencies. I think the culture of creativity is, partly it's about creating an environment. And you go to some offices and there's sort of all white walls, and you walk around the office and people look a bit sad and a bit dull, and you pretend you need to go to the bathroom and kind of nobody helps you to show you the way, and you know this is not going to be a good agency. A good independent, people are upbeat. They're curious. Oh, who are you? Can I help you? That's interesting. And that gives you a start. The next thing is you need to have an environment which is fun to work in. If you cannot be a success in our business if you're not a little bit of an optimist, because nobody knows for sure if a campaign will work. You have to believe it will. If you work in a dull, boring, decrepit-looking place where everybody's a bit down or everybody's scared of what the boss might say, you will not have fun. You will not enjoy yourself. So the first thing is create that environment. Then you hire people who are curious. The first independent agency I worked in many years ago back in the UK had a quote on the wall. It was, unless you have a childlike curiosity, you will never succeed in our business. And that's what we believe. Be curious, have fun, be honest. Sometimes things don't work. If something doesn't work, you got to move, you got to change. But look at the world with an optimistic light and a spirit of let's try this and see if it works. And very often it does. I mean, I love Poland personally. My wife is Polish. You didn't know that. So I do know a few words, but beyond the kind of dzień dobry that I started with, but I didn't think I would risk that. I think Poland, like a lot of Europe, has had a tough time. We all know this. The advertising budgets have shrunk. Media is a lot lower than it was kind of, a few years ago before the crisis. I think what we've tried to do, and what we are starting to pick up here, is an understanding that you don't need a billion-dollar company. You don't need a lot of money to have a great idea and to express it. And some people I've met are a little bit down. And, well, there's a crisis. Well, we're not as big as we used to be. Well, things are tough. Well, clients are not buying imaginative, creative work like they used to do. Well, okay, it's tough. But there's other people who say, like Eka did in his presentation, the crisis is the opportunity. because you have to be more inventive if you don't have a big TV budget and all you've got is a little viral budget to create talk on the internet. So I think there's, I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that everybody is as optimistic as I would like to see them to be, but I think there are enough people here that will bring the spirit of the advertising industry, the communication industry here, back to the level which it should be, because Poland has a fabulous creative tradition, graphic, artistic, creative tradition, and there's tons of talent, just need a little bit of inspiration.